picture of Dorian Gray, which is grossly misrepresented in my favorite movie, by the way.
Your favorite movie being The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
That is one movie I will say is better than the book, because Alan Moore is a very strange man.
Honey, that movie's not better than anything. That movie is ass.
That movie is delightful. I love it.
Well, you do have a great track record of loving awful, awful things, like your co-host on Soon to Be a Major Motion podcast, the podcast where we read books that were turned into movies and watch movies that are based on books. I am said co-host, Mr. Billy Beck. I call myself Mr. again.
You did. And I am the other co-host, Cody Beck.
Who makes terrible decisions.
I have terrible taste and I make bad decisions, but you know what? It's fine. Not as bad as the subject of our pod this week.
Well, before we get into that, Cody, how have you been since we last sat down and recorded?
I've been fine. I don't really think anything notable or exciting happened, except for watching you have an emotional breakdown multiple times over sport.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me check my notes for how was your week. Sports suck. Oh yeah.
Also, the only notable thing is our oven broke, so I got to work remote for the first time in like 2 years.
Oh, the day after I got to take a day off to get the apartment inspected with the city.
Uh-huh.
And the inspector came in, and the first thing he noticed was something got fixed. He was like, "Oh, the landlord fixed the door." And I said, "No, our neighbor fixed the door." I said, "Well, did they fix the smoke detector?" "No." Shit. So our landlord is in trouble with the city.
Still continues to be in trouble with the city.
He's just digging himself deeper. But at least he fixed the oven.
Yeah.
I think when I told him that we could smell gas, he went, yeah, we're not going to make a lot of money flipping that property if the tenants die. So
I laugh because it's true.
At least our lives are worth that much. But sports. So here's my last week. We're recording this on the 4th of July, Thursday, for the record. Today is hot as balls, and I'm learning that I might be allergic to the heat. So I've been sneezy and sinusy all day, so I apologize for the sound of my voice.
Oh no, these expired yesterday.
They came from my mom. I'm surprised they expired while they were here. Everything she sends is like on the edge of expiration. So a week ago today, Thursday, I geared up and watched the U.S. men's national team lose to Panama. 2 days later, that Saturday, I sat on the couch and threw on my Philadelphia Union, and they lost 4-2. And then the next night, we went to Pride Night in Angel City, where we played the Pride, no relation, and lost 3-0. And then Monday night, the night after that, the U.S. had a must-win game against Uruguay to get out of the group in the Copa America, and for the first time in the history of the tournament, a host nation, the United States of America, got knocked out of the group stage because they couldn't beat Uruguay. Couldn't even get a fucking shot on target. And then a nice relaxing day Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I watched the Philadelphia Union play again, and they were up 2-1 at the half. Stop me if you've heard this one before. They lost 4-3. They led that game 3-1, and they allowed 3 fucking goals in the last fucking 10 minutes of the fucking game to the fucking Chicago Fire, and lost 4-3.
That game ended, and Bill just very quietly turned to me and said, "I think I'm going to take a break from soccer for a while."
And then like 10 minutes ago realized, ooh, I missed the Copa game, and made sure to watch the penalties to see Argentina advance. I keep saying I'm going to take a break from soccer, but I know myself. I'm not. I'm just going to be depressed every weekend for the foreseeable, till City play again.
How is that different than your regular life?
Depressed because of soccer for the weekend.
Ah, so you have a cause.
Yeah, I have something to point at and blame. But this isn't a sports podcast.
Much as you keep trying to make it one.
Well, that'll be the spinoff. I make you watch sports.
We can title it, "You Really Do Like Sports."
No, you read the rule book, I watch the game, and we discuss if they followed the rules. It would be more work than that referee put in that USA-Uruguay game. That dude was probably fired. Awful. Worst refereeing I've ever seen. Anyway, last time out we were talking about George Orwell's 1984, and we put some feelers out and asked our community, our listenership, all four of you, what would be in your Room 101? And if you don't remember or didn't listen to the episode, Room 101 is where the government tortures people using that person's worst fears. So we got 2 responses back. Our good friend Mark said that his Room 101 would be him strapped down to a chair and forced to listen to people who care about him compliment him and say what they love about him.
Yeah, that tracks.
Doesn't it? And our good friend Hank from Bucktown is back with another one. His Room 101 is being forced to pee in a urinal while a crowd of people watch.
Does it have to be a crowd or just like one person?
It says crowd. Anyway, if you want to let us know what's in your Room 101, just because we're moving on from 1984 doesn't mean we still don't want to know. So feel free to send that our way or any other old responses to old episodes. I still care. I still want to know. But on to more pressing matters. And if I'm pushing the pace of this episode a little bit, it's because I can already hear fireworks starting.
I'm honestly surprised it started this late.
No, they've started like Tuesday. This week, as we've alluded to, we are discussing Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Which was adapted to film in 1945 by Albert Lewin.
That is older than I expected.
1945?
Yeah. I don't know why. It just feels like something they would have done in the 80s.
I think there was one in the 70s. Because I struggled to find this one. It was on a service until like 4 days ago, and then it wasn't on a service anymore. But Google said it was still on Pluto TV. But that was like a 1970s one that was... From the first moment, I went, no. This looks trash. But there's a Wikipedia page for adaptations of Picture of Dorian Gray, and I think the first 6 are pre-talkie.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
They kept doing it. So this has been adapted a handful of times. But I decided to concentrate on the 1945. It won an Oscar for cinematography in black and white. It's probably the most star-studded adaptation there was. Donna Reed, Angela Lansbury.
Oh, okay.
So, before we get into the meat of it, how did you first come to know about The Picture of Dorian Gray?
Considering that this is a series that we're doing because it is school reading, summer reading, this was one that I did between my junior and senior years of high school going into AP English. We got to pick a couple of books that we had to read over the summer. The English teacher actually didn't even want to assign summer reading, but then 75 kids signed up for AP English, the most that had signed up in like probably a decade, and she went, "Time to weed them out, summer homework." Did not work.
Somehow more kids signed up.
I think only about 10 people dropped out because she ended up having 2 full classes, and this was her last year teaching it. She had fully given up. I loved this woman. She was absolutely bananas. She was, if I recall correctly, going through a divorce that year, and she was also, of retirement age, so she was in her 60s. She had been teaching at this school for well over 2 decades. And she'd been teaching English, some version of it, the whole time. So she gave us a list. You could also request books that weren't on the list if you made a compelling enough argument to her.
Animorphs.
So I ended up picking one book off the list, which was The Picture of Dorian Gray, and suggesting Lolita.
I'm not going to unpack that.
To which her response was a giggle and, softcore porn, and then she accepted it.
I guess she's not unpacking that either.
So, I actually read this book in Germany. I was...
In English or in German?
In English. I was doing my summer homework for English class in a German classroom during my exchange program. And much like 1984, fucking despised it. But we'll get into that later. What was your experience with the book or the movie?
So when I was a freshman in high school, I auditioned for the spring play because I saw my sister, 2 years older, do the musical, and I wasn't allowed to do the musical because, quote, that was her thing, end quote. Not still bitter about that. So I auditioned for the fall play. And my sister also auditioned. And the play was called Telling Wild Tales. And it was 9 short pieces based off of Oscar Wilde stories. That was my first introduction to Wilde. As for the picture of Dorian Gray, I have no fucking clue. I know that there was a time where I knew it existed. Probably because a cartoon parodied it. Or something. But for whatever...
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, basically, I would hear the name, and I knew vaguely, oh, that's the one where the guy doesn't age because the picture does. Okay. Never read it, never saw it, kind of stayed out of my wheelhouse until now. But, I mean, that Telling Wild Tales in the 9th grade is also, the only experience I've had with Oscar Wilde as well. I haven't really dug into his writing. I don't think I've ever read any of his writing directly, just the script of that play.
I feel like our college did Importance of Being Earnest, a couple of years before either of us got there.
Importance of Being Earnest is Oscar Wilde?
Yeah.
Shit. Well, then that, I guess. I'm sure I've read that at some point. Yeah. See, this is one of those just big old gaps in my knowledge.
So, hot take. Tom Stoppard is, to the modern era, what Oscar Wilde was at the time. Linguistically.
Explain.
Arcadia and The Importance of Being Earnest, and by extension the other Oscar Wilde works, are inscrutable and pretentious, but intentionally that way, and they're very much a I am hiding in plain sight type of storytelling.
Okay.
I would rather read Tom Stoppard.
What, you don't like Wilde's witticisms?
Oh my god, he is so far up his own asshole for this entire book.
Did he self-insert himself in the book as well?
So, all of the main characters are versions of himself.
Well, yeah, that's a given.
He literally said that Basil Hallward is how he sees himself. Dorian Gray is how he would like to see himself. And
beautiful and hiding his evil in the attic.
And Lord Henry Wotton is what the public sees him as.
That's amazing. There's a bit of dialogue in the movie where I think it's Lord Henry reads an Oscar Wilde poem, and Gray asks him, "Oh, who wrote that?" And he says, "This brilliant young Irishman from Oxford named Oscar Wilde."
Oh my god. At least Oscar didn't pick that one.
He was dead at this point in 45.
Yeah.
But speaking of 45, this book we're talking about, they made into a movie.
Ah.
You read it, I watched it, and now our lovely audience is about to listen to the trailer.
the picture could change, and I could be always what I am now. For that I would give everything. There's nothing in the whole world I would not give. I would give my soul for that.
The vain jealousy which prompted Dorian Gray to utter this fateful prayer was destined to sweep him into a life so fraught with vice and evil that its marks became horrible to behold. For the mad wish of Dorian Gray was granted through some supernatural miracle, and day by day he watched his sins etch themselves upon his painted portrait, while he himself stayed young and handsome. Every vile thought and act, every criminal deed, left its mark upon the painted canvas that was to bear the burden of his shame. Down to depths of degradation frightful to conceive went Dorian Gray, seeking new outlets to satisfy his passion for pleasure. His extraordinary visits into the strange world of crime and sin became notorious, and when he reappeared again in society, men would whisper to each other in corners or look at him with searching eyes. Women, who for his sake had set convention at defiance, were seen to grow pale if Dorian Gray entered the room. What was this strange fascination this man held for everybody? To what limits of evil did he drag those he knew? Men and women alike, all fell under the spell of his charm, and yet to know him was to court shame and disaster.
Dorian Gray is a handsome young aristocrat who meets a professional shit-stirrer named Lord Henry while being painted by Basil Hallward. Henry convinces Gray that youth is the most important thing, so naturally, Gray wishes that his portrait will age instead of him. Shortly thereafter, Gray has a brief engagement to Sybil Vane, who commits suicide after Gray follows Henry's romantic advice and breaks off the engagement. This is when Gray notices the portrait is beginning to change, so he hides it in his old schoolroom. 20-ish years later, Gray's portrait is full of his evil, mysterious crimes, and he is in love with Basil's young niece Gladys. After killing Basil and being the cause of Alan Campbell's suicide and the hunting accident of Sybil's brother James, he again breaks off an engagement. Again, seeing a change in the portrait, this time for good, he stabs the portrait in the heart. This reverts the portrait to its original form and immediately ages and kills Gray. The end!
Yay!
Picture of Dorian Gray in a nutshell.
Hays Code.
Hays Code. So, that is something I definitely want to ask you. This is 100% code. What the fuck are his crimes and misdeeds? Because they just say, oh man, he's in all this crime and misdeeds. And all we see him do in the movie is go to, like, a poor part of town and drink at a bar.
So, he never specifies what the crimes are, but considering that it involves multiple young men, it is very heavily implied that it's sodomy.
Oh, so fun?
Also...
Heaven forbid being gay is a crime. Happy Pride, everybody. Oh, wait.
It's Gay Wrath Month now.
Gay Wrath Month. Let's go. Do you gay do crimes?
The only actual crime that you see him commit in the book is he partakes in opium, which I don't even think was necessarily illegal at the time. It was just, like, looked down upon. His crimes and misdeeds are not actually clarified. I think that's part of the point, is that you don't know exactly what evil he has done, but it's enough that Alan Campbell commits suicide. He has ruined the lives and prospects of multiple men to the point that at least one of them goes to Australia.
Oh, heaven forbid.
And multiple women are, like, banned from society because of association with him. So even in the book, it's not clear what the crimes are, but knowing what we know about Oscar Wilde, it's pretty clear that it was probably, at least one of the crimes was probably homosexuality.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like the trailer kind of alluded to that, where they're, like, attracting men and women alike as, like, he's smooching on a lady.
Yeah, he is very careful multiple times, he being Oscar Wilde, to make sure that Dorian Gray has female partners. But, like, he has a house with Henry Wooten. They own a house in Italy, and the only reason, and it's described as they spent many pleasant summers there, but it's described as, yes.
Oh, for those of you who can't see, which is all of you listening on this audio podcast, I was poking my 2 index fingers together, as if to imply penises touching tip to tip.
Yes, so that is brought up in part of the middle chapters that are describing his basic descent into decadence and luxury, where he talks about how he was so concerned that someone was going to find his picture or his portrait that he actually sold that house because he couldn't bear to be away from his home longer than he had to.
Yeah, that's like in the movie, but not in as much detail. I feel like the film concentrates more on the romantic elements, and probably for code reasons. His relationship with Gladys, who, if I recall correctly, is not Basil's niece in the book.
Gladys is Henry Wooten's cousin or niece. She's related to Henry in the book.
Okay, so in my notes under questions, I had, what are Dorian's crimes, parentheses, besides grooming that child, close parentheses?
Yes,
So we meet her in the film when we meet him. Except she's 8, because it's the day his portrait's getting finished. And she initials the G for Gladys under Basil's signature.
So, how old is Dorian in the start of the movie?
At the start, when his portrait is finished, he's 22, and I believe he's 40 at the finish.
So that's roughly the same as in the book. He's specifically 17 in the book.
Ew, that makes the grooming worse in the movie.
He is 17 in the book, and I only know that because he's waiting to come into his inheritance, which he will get at 18.
Okay.
So they specifically say that he hasn't come of age yet to receive his inheritance. And the rest of the book, so the book is roughly divided into like 3 chapters of like kind of plot and exposition. Then there's like the central chunk, which is basically just detailing Dorian's descent into crime and decadence, but it's mostly like, hey, he started studying jewelry, and then after that he got into books, and then after that he got into other low things. But there's so many like details and stuff in there that I'm sure there's cultural stuff that I'm missing.
There's definitely a bit of like cultural significance that we're missing to a lot of it, because it's England in the 1800s and it's the aristocracy. And there's cultural norms that are completely different to what we grew up with.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, like, flaunting conventions of high society. So, like, he will disappear for a couple of weeks at a time and then come back. And it's implied that, like, consorting with poor people does not indicate that he's doing good things. And also, even working in general is considered like bad form.
It's like the opening monologue from Lord Henry in the film is about how all he wants to do with his time is watch other people like go through things.
Yes.
That's why I refer to him as a professional shit stirrer.
So then after the chunk of the book where it's just like further exposition without carrying the plot forward, there's kind of like just a time jump to when Dorian is 38, and that's when he, spoilers, runs into Basil and kills him, and then that kind of drives the rest of the book. So it's really like, here, I'm introducing you to this character, here is the montage of all the terrible things that he did that you're not going to see each individually, and then here's the end of the book, which is the result of all of the degradation.
So is Basil the artist of the painting?
Yes.
As well? Okay. What does he do in the movie? Because when he's like, because it does a similar time jump in the movie where he's 22, he goes through the incident with Sybil Vane, and then that sets him on the path to debauchery. Time jump. Basil's kind of reintroduced into his life alongside Gladys.
Okay.
And it's to protect Gladys from the truth of his bullshit that he kills Basil.
Okay, so...
In a way, in a perverted kind of way.
In the novel, it is just... He shows Basil the painting, because Basil basically comes in as like, yo, dude, you need to, like, fucking chill, because I don't want to believe all these rumors that I've heard, but here is all of the various crimes, and I'm going to only vaguely hint at them. But it's like, oh, why is Alan Campbell poor now? And why is this guy, no one will see him anymore, and he's addicted to opium, etc., etc. And he basically ends that whole speech by saying, like, when I look at your face, I can't see that you've committed any crimes, but I wouldn't be able to say that unless I've seen your soul. And Dorian's like, you want to see my soul, motherfucker?
Let me get the key. Come upstairs.
Yeah, and basically, once Basil sees the picture and is like, you can repent, you can totally undo this, Dorian's like, why the fuck would I want to undo this? And he is like, how dare you try to tell me that the way I've lived my life is wrong? And that's when he kills Basil.
Oh yeah, he's like not unrepentant. He's just like, shit, you're gonna tell Gladys, and I really want to smash this girl I knew as a child who was 10 years younger than me.
The other thing that's kind of interesting about the model for Dorian is that this was being written, I believe, around the time that he started to get involved with the guy that would eventually lead to his death, Oscar Wilde.
Oh.
Who was a young, handsome, rich aristocrat by the name of Basie.
Dorian Basie.
I don't remember what his full name is. I just remember his nickname was Basie. And basically, they were so indiscreet in their relationship that the Lord's father got involved. And Oscar Wilde tried to sue him for defamation or libel, I forget which, for calling him a sodomite, and lost. And then the Lord actually turned around and either sued or pressed charges against Oscar for being homosexual, which was illegal at the time.
Bullshit.
And Oscar Wilde was, of course, convicted and sent to the prison camp where he basically never recovered from after he did his 4 years.
Yeah.
But it is very strongly implied by scholarship that Dorian physically was designed to look like Lord Basie, which is why I'm fascinated to see that it looks like in the movie he was very dark-haired and like...
Yeah, they definitely went a different look, because I believe in the book he's blonde, blue-eyed.
Yes.
Yeah, very Aryan.
Very Aryan.
Varian.
More Aryan Draco Malfoy.
Oh no. And he's like super Nazi. Yeah, that was a choice in casting, and it was because the actor that played Dorian Gray, Herb Hatfield, had more of a like a mystique and a menace about him that they were looking for.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of misses the point, because the whole point of Dorian is that he's supposed to be so totally disarming that no one can believe that he would commit these crimes. It's the same type of vibe as Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I see that. I'd be interested to see a different performance of Dorian Gray that's less dark and brooding and more jovial.
Yeah, like...
Yes, I can hear the explosions, listeners. I'm not editing that shit out. This is gonna happen the whole recording. This is North Hollywood on the 4th of July.
I wonder if...
Jesus Christ.
That one's so close.
The fucking... setting off car alarms and shit.
I wonder if this is, like, in the cul-de-sac.
It's probably in the cul-de-sac.
I was gonna make a joke about Armie Hammer. Because that's who Dorian Gray was in my head.
If Armie Hammer had played Dorian Gray in, like, 2012, it would have been amazing. Just for, like, the poetry of that.
Yeah, that vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Dorian is a shitty child who makes poor decisions, obviously.
What's that? A young man who grew up in wealth and privilege, not understanding the consequences of his actions.
But also, Lord Henry's the villain of this story, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because he's the one who's like, hey, you could be a shithead and no one's going to care. You're rich.
Like, Basil straight up asks him, like, hey, I don't want you to meet Dorian because you're going to fuck him up. And the very first thing Henry's like is, oh, I'm going to meet him and I'm going to fuck him up.
Oh, yeah, that's a great opener for the movies.
Like, who needs fucking enemies when you got Lord Henry as your friend?
Yeah. Like, Henry just shows up unannounced at Basil's, and he's like, oh, I wish you weren't here. Oh, who you painting today? I'm not gonna let you meet him. Yes, you are. Oh, there he is. Hi, Henry. Nice to meet you. Gonna ruin your fucking life.
Yes. In the book, it's even more direct, because he gives him a book, which I'm not familiar with the actual book that's being referenced, but I believe it is an actual book. Mm-hmm. And even Oscar Wilde, as the author, goes so far as to say that there are many ways that people can be corrupted, but Dorian Gray was corrupted by a book.
Hmm. And it's that poem, right? The thing about the soul returning and being both heaven and hell.
I don't think that's in the...
No? Because that's like the bookend of the movie. Like the opening title card is this poem. And the gist of it is like a man's soul leaving and returning, and the soul itself is both heaven and hell. Like that's the final line of the poem. And it appears 2 or 3 times, including in a book that Dorian has. Let's talk about some of the deaths he's responsible for.
Oh yes, the various ones.
So we'll start at the beginning. Sybil Vane.
Sybil Vane.
Tell me about Sybil Vane in the book.
She is a super great actress. She's the same age as Dorian. He stumbles across her like a couple of weeks after he meets Lord Henry, and he goes and sees her every day. And he watches whatever Shakespeare play she performs in, and he's obsessed with her because she's such a good actress. And they get engaged, and he takes Basil and Lord Henry to go see her, and she performs like shit. She's absolutely terrible. And Dorian is so upset. Like, Henry and Basil are just bored. Or Henry is bored, and Basil's just, like, mortified for Dorian. And then Henry and Basil leave. Dorian stays. And then basically reams her out in the dressing room for boring him and embarrassing him in front of his friends. And meanwhile, she's like, I was such a bad actress because I know what love is like in real life now. And it's all thanks to you.
That's not how acting works. Wild.
And then he basically is like, the engagement's off. I'm never going to speak to you again because you ruined my life. I would have made you famous. And she's like, what do you mean? And then he basically... He doesn't physically kick her, but he emotionally kicks her and just leaves her begging on the floor. And of course, her brother has just left to Australia. And then he gets the letter the next day from Lord Henry that Sybil Vane has killed herself.
So in the film, she is not an actress. She is a vaudeville performer.
Oh, even worse.
So every day he goes to, I think it's the Two Turtles. And he sees her sing a song called The Yellow Bird. And the theme of the song is basically a lady sparrow flies in a window in the winter, and the little yellow bird in the cage says, stay, it's warm. And the sparrow says, no, I'd rather be free than in a gilded cage. And in walks the gilded cage named Dorian Gray and invites her in. And she fucking says yes, completely missing the point of her fucking song. And then Henry talks him into, like, inviting her over for the evening to see the portrait and whatnot. And he tells him when it's time for her to leave, and she asks if she could stay and then kick her out or something like that. He just says, like, basically play with her emotions because, like, you love each other now, but you won't love each other in 3 months or whatever. And he follows the advice, she leaves, and then the next morning he's distraught about it, Gray is. And he's like, oh, I'm going to write to her, and I'm going to apologize, and I'm still going to marry her and all this. And Henry shows up, and he's like, oh, no, she's dead. She killed herself, buddy. And then he's, like, pouring him a drink, and he's like, it's probably for the best, you know? I mean, I wish a woman would kill herself over me. Nah, my exes keep living.
Yeah,
I keep running into them.
He basically says that.
He's such a prick.
He's so used to being insulated from any consequences. It's fascinating because by the end of the book, he has kind of experienced consequences, Henry, because his wife leaves him. She runs off with her painting teacher or something. And he actually has, like, kind of changed by the end of the book a little bit. He's, like, not as much of an asshole. But Dorian doesn't change, because Dorian can't change.
It's kind of weird, because Henry doesn't change in the movie, but Dorian has like a change of heart at the end and tries to like fix himself by stabbing the portrait. That's
the thing that's interesting is the relationship between Henry and Gladys in the novel is like the start of a romantic comedy play, because there's a point where Dorian rushes out because he thinks he sees James Vane chasing him. And Henry basically, like, takes Gladys aside and is, like, doing a turnabout the room with her and is like, do you love him very much? And she just kind of sighs and she's like, I don't know. And Henry's like, oh, fuck. Because if you would have said yes or no immediately, I would have known your answer. But because you say you don't know, that's very bad news. And it's even kind of the first time that you get the inkling that Henry realizes the problems with Dorian. There's also the whole underlying homosexuality of this whole book, which is, like, obviously Henry and Dorian are fucking.
It's a little less obvious in the movie, I will say. Like,
yeah.
It's there in that they are two men who have been friends for 20 years and are otherwise, like, not in romantic relationships.
Yeah. It's also not subtle that, like, Basil views Dorian as a muse with all that entails, and it's clear that he's in unrequited romantic love with Dorian. It's, yeah.
And that's there in the movie, too, when he comes back and decides he wants to exhibit the portrait. And that's when Dorian decides to hide it, because it's already started to change.
The bloody fingers.
Oh, it's just like an evil smirk.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
After he's mean to Sybil, he gets the cruel glaze, the cruel gaze, and then after he knows that Sybil's dead, he imagines there's red on the fingers, and then after he kills Basil, there's red for sure, but it's also implied with all of the other deaths, like Sybil, Adrian Singleton, who's only ever mentioned as someone that died, Alan Campbell's eventual suicide after just...
So what's the deal with Alan Campbell?
You don't know, except that the only reason he works with Dorian is that Dorian blackmails him, basically. Dorian shows him a letter that he wrote. We do not know the contents of the letter as the reader.
Okay.
But Alan reads it and basically is described as, like, going pale like you wouldn't fucking dare. And Dorian's like, sure I would. You gotta do this for me.
What does he have Alan do?
He has Alan dispose of Basil's body.
Okay, so that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I was curious, because we kind of danced around that a little bit.
He Frankensteins the body somehow.
Yes. And then James, the brother, how does he die in the book?
They are hunting out at a country estate that I don't think Dorian owns, but he might. It's a little unclear at that point. And he's kind of been hallucinating him, because when he went to the opium den a few days before, he had seen someone had jokingly called him Prince Charming, and that's, like, James Vane, like, bolted up and was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you because you're the reason my sister's dead. And then Dorian was like, no, look at my face. How long ago did this happen?
Like, how old do you think I am, he says.
Yeah.
He's not called Prince Charming, though. He's called Sir Tristan in the film. Now,
really?
My Arthurian knowledge is limited at best. Who the fuck is Sir Tristan?
It's from Tristan and Isolde. It's a Celtic legend. It basically predates the Arthur and Lancelot and Guinevere. Basically, Tristan and Isolde. Isolde is a princess. Tristan is a knight. They can't be together, but they love each other, and they both die in war, I believe. There's a movie version of it with Keira Knightley.
I remember when that movie came out, and I was, like, 15, so there was no fucking way I was seeing Tristan and Isolde.
Yeah, I probably should have, like, investigated the fact that I'm not straight sooner, because pretty much everything that Keira Knightley was in, I was like, yes, I would like to see it, but I didn't see that one.
Well, thank you for explaining that to me, because I was like, there's a reference here I'm not getting.
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it was like the precursor to Romeo and Juliet.
Right on.
But James Vane, so Dorian escapes at that point. It's also interesting because the person that calls him Prince Charming in the book kind of disappears. And it's like, when I was reading it, I was like, is that supposed to be Sybil's ghost? Or is it just like vengeance or what? Because she also disappears and James can't find her again. So I don't know. I think you can interpret it however you'd like. But he sees James in the greenhouse and basically faints and calls everyone into the greenhouse. And then later they're going hunting, and one of the people whose job it is basically to like flush out the game gets shot in the chest. And I don't know what the term is, but basically the guy that manages the lands for Dorian comes to him and was like, hey, so about that guy that got shot today and died. And Dorian's like opening his checkbook like, yeah, we'll give him some money, we'll give his family some money, I imagine he has family that we need to pay off or whatever. And he's like, well, that's just the thing, he's not actually an employee here. And Dorian's like, take me to the body immediately. And they go, and it's James Vane, and he's like, yes, I'm safe. I have escaped with yet another of my many crimes.
Huzzah! Yeah, so no shame in the film.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it's also, like, sort of implied that he is the reason James gets shot, because the hare that is running away that they're about to shoot is, like, running so gracefully that he tries to stop the guy from shooting it.
Yep.
Something vegans. I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's a lazy joke. It's interesting because so much literature, like even modern literature, kind of, even modern like media in general as a whole, kind of predicates this idea that like if you're a bad person, it's going to show on your face in some way. Like the jokes that everyone always makes about how hate ages you, and that's why all the Republicans look like they're a million years old.
Except for the female Republicans who can afford the plastic surgery. But, yeah. like a thing that I read in the notes that was a difference was that he sees a change in his portrait at the end when he breaks off his engagement with Gladys for her sake. Mm-hmm. And in the film, like, he sees, like, a light back in his eyes in the portrait. I believe in the book, it's more evil is added to the portrait, right?
Yeah, he basically realizes that this girl, he was just trying to convince himself that he was doing a good thing. And ultimately, he just did the same thing to her that he did to everyone else. He just led her on and broke her heart.
And that's like Jesus Christ. That's like a part of a philosophy that always has interested me. And it is, like, what really makes a good deed good? And can a deed truly be good if you do it for any kind of self-serving motive? Can you do a good deed without a self-serving motive is, like, the school of thought.
Spoilers for The Good Place.
Yeah, well, among other things. But, like, yeah, that's something that and that's from my evangelical Christian upbringing of do good things because they're good things to do and it's good. Also, it helps you in heaven. But you don't have to do good things to get into heaven. You just have to let Jesus in your heart. But you got to do good things to get into heaven still because we're going to do shitty things in the name of God. But do good things to get into heaven. And, like, that fucked me up as a kid. To the point where, like, am I donating to this charity because I want them to do good things? Or am I donating because I want people to see that I'm doing a good thing?
Yes.
Like, what is my motive for this thing that I'm doing?
Yeah, it's that very internal versus external motivation. And it's like, it's the thing that people always say where it's like, if you're crazy, people don't question if they're crazy.
Yep.
So it's like, if you're questioning it, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, Dorian clearly, at every point, Dorian chooses the evil option. Mm-hmm. Because his whole deal is, he just wants to experience the most possible out of life. And he recognizes that he's in a very unique circumstance where all of the bad things he does aren't actually going to affect him. Like, yeah, he's going to hell, but he accepted that 20 years ago. He's fine with that. It's just like he wants to experience all possible sensation that exists.
So as far as his unique position goes, being the magic painting, is the magic behind the painting ever explained as to how that came to be?
No, it's basically that it's kind of strongly implied that he basically made this weird bargain with such... So, Basil has already talked to Lord Henry by the time we meet Dorian, and he's explained, like, Dorian puts so much, like, effort and love into all of my work. He is my muse. I put so much, like, he's in everything that I paint. Even if I don't paint him, he's in everything that I paint. So I think the implication is that Basil has put so much love and effort and soul into the painting that the painting is already imbued with some of Dorian's essence.
Okay.
And that's kind of how he's able to make that bargain, is that it already is so... It contains so much of him already that he's able to kind of, like, make the bargain. And, I mean, you could also probably make the argument that, like, the devil is attracted to beauty, and so he saw this opportunity to just fuck this guy up.
So in the film, as he's painting it, Basil describes it as, like, the painting is almost painting itself at times. Mm-hmm. Like, that kind of goes along with what you're saying. Part of the scenery that he's being painted around, and it's in the painting itself, is an Egyptian cat statue. That might be a little bit magic.
Ah.
And he says the little prayer to the Egyptian cat, and he takes the Egyptian cat with the portrait, and it's Egyptian cat magic. That is the reason why the magic portrait exists.
Of course, it can't just be wishes. It has to be foreign magic.
This movie did some weird stuff with because there's the Egyptian thing, and then there's a scene with, like, a group of, like, I think Balinese dancers.
Oh yes, there's a...
Oh, that's in the novel as well.
Not necessarily that, but in the descriptions of his decadence, when he gets into music, he imports dancers and musicians from all around the world. He brings in artifacts from all around the world, that kind of thing. So I don't know if it's specifically like Balinese dancers, but there is definitely, like, he does that kind of thing in the novel.
Okay, let me pull the name, because I realized I did not pull it, but there's a actual dance troupe that is credited that had, like, a weird relationship with the director.
Oh.
It's the Dardanella Opera Group. Oh god, I do not know how to pronounce this. They do not have a thing. Looks like she's Javan. Devi Dja, D-J-A. So I don't know if it's Ja or Dja. But it was her and her dancers that are in one of the scenes. Yeah, they're Bali and Java cultural dancers.
Okay, so it's basically like we're showing the degradation of this man's soul by having him surrounded by exoticism and mysticism.
Oh no, brown people, the biggest sin. I'm trying to find, because I know I read this earlier, that she had, like, a working relationship with this director. Oh no, the director was her best friend. Oh. And he cast her in 3 of her movies.
All right.
Yeah. Considering he only directed 6 movies. This woman is all over his shit. So, okay, I wasn't sure if that was just something that Albert Lewin crammed in, or if that was actually a reference in the book, because I could see it being either.
Yeah, so it's kind of a convenient way, but it is actually something from the book.
Okay, well, while we're talking about Albert Lewin and the cast and crew, written and directed by Albert Lewin. He's directed 6 films in his career. The other biggest one, I guess, I hadn't heard of any of them except for this. The other one that IMDb said, like, hey, this is one of his top, is Pandora and the Flying Dutchman. So I feel like he did a lot of genre stuff.
Yeah, that tracks.
Cast, this is where we get some hitters. Lord Henry was played by George Sanders. He was Addison DeWitt in All About Eve.
Oh, okay.
And he was Shere Khan in The Jungle Book. Dorian Gray was played by Hurd Hatfield. He was in The Unsuspected and King of Kings.
What a fucking name.
Hurd Hatfield. He was friends late into life with co-star Angela Lansbury, who played Sybil Vane. He also appeared in episodes of Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury, of course, Beauty and the Beast. One of her first film was Gaslight.
Yep.
Gladys Hallward was played by Donna Reed. It's a Wonderful Life, From Here to Eternity. She won her Oscar for that. And this one I thought was fun. David Stone, who is Gladys's maybe boyfriend. Peter Lawford. He was one of the Rat Pack.
Oh!
So he was in the original Ocean's 11 and The Longest Day and hung out with Sinatra and them. Yeah. I also want to credit because a main theme of this film is a painting. The titular picture of Dorian Gray. So the filmmakers had 2 paintings commissioned. One is entitled Portrait of Hurd Hatfield as Dorian Gray by an artist named Henrique Medina. So I'm pulling this up so that Cody can see the painting.
Okay.
That's the original before it's fucked up. As far as I know, it is currently in a private collection. It sold at auction in, I think, 2015 for about $125,000, $150,000.
Okay.
So, pretty decent piece of art. And then, of course, there is the titular picture of Dorian Gray, which this is amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
How good is that shit?
I love that even the cat looks disgusted with him.
Yeah. This one is currently on display at the Art Institute of Chicago, where Albright attended as a youth.
That is really cool.
I want to get like a really zoomed in one for you. Just the little details in it, and I know this is an audio medium, so Google picture of Dorian Gray, Ivan Albright.
There's like iridescence, the fingers are bloody on both hands. It's just fully fucked up.
They referred to this artist as, I believe it was the Master of Macabre. He has a very distinct style that, like, I'm pulling up some other art of his for Cody to see.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I've seen some of his art before.
It's like realism, but extra gross.
Yeah, it looks like a precursor to Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if Garbage Pail Kids were taken seriously, it's like that kind of, like, bulbous and wrinkly and sweaty and
gross.
Yeah. Really, really cool artwork from Ivan Albright.
It's almost, the picture of Dorian Gray feels almost Lovecraftian.
It does. It really does.
It looks like this is how you look after you meet Cthulhu.
Yeah, I keep, like, opening different fucking tabs of the same painting. It's cool. It's one that, like, I would actually kind of love a print hanging somewhere in the house.
Yeah, it's so, like, creepy and visceral.
Yeah.
For the record, this is the photo from the...
Oh, that's just an old man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be 38 there. Opium really fucks you up, apparently.
I will not look like that in 4 years. If I look like that in 4 years, then I must have done something wrong.
Yeah, that's also the thing that's extra funny about this, is this whole time he's supposed to be 38. And yes, I understand that we're talking about 38 in the 1880s. still, that would have been... So if the book takes place at the time it was written...
Which is 1905, if I'm not mistaken? Because that's, I think, when the film takes place.
Let me check. There's a convenient little chronology in here. Picture of Dorian Gray was originally published in 1890.
Okay.
The revised version, released as a book, was 1891. Importance of Being Earnest and An Ideal Husband were both produced in 1895 while Wilde was on trial for homosexuality.
Gotta pay for them lawyer fees somehow. As I mentioned earlier, they have made this into a movie a dozen times.
Yes.
Dorian Gray's Portrait, 1910.
Oh my god.
The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1913. The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1915. The Picture of Dorian Gray with an E, 1916. The Picture of Dorian Gray with an A, also 1916. Das Bildnis de Dorian Gray, 1970. As er led Kirat... I'm not even gonna fucking... The Royal Life, 1918. Those were all... Oh, Bela Lugosi was Wotton in that. Henry Wotton. Huh. Oh, goddamn. What country was that in? Hungarian. Oh, that's interesting. Bela Lugosi, like... And that's all pre-talkie.
Yep.
Then Nothing Till 1945, the one I was talking about today, which is probably the most famous one. There was a 1970 Italian-German-British production called Dorian Gray, also known as The Evils of Dorian Gray or The Secret of Dorian Gray. There was a 2009 British version called Dorian Gray. And most recently, a 2021 British film called The Picture of Dorian Gray, which modernized it and made Dorian Gray into a social media influencer.
Oh my god.
Starring Finn Whitehead, who was in Dunkirk and Black Mirror Baldersnatch.
Okay.
But he's also like a dark-haired kind of guy, and as we talked about earlier, it's a blonde character. So what I think we should ask our audience, and we've done this in the past, maybe it's a bit of a cop-out, but hey, I've got explosions going off on my street, and kind of want to wrap this up. So for next one, what actor would you cast as Dorian Gray now? Or hell, any era. What actor from any era would you want to see portray the character of Dorian Gray?
You actually missed a very important instance of Dorian Gray.
I haven't gone through TV. Which instance are you referring to? Is it the episode of Star Trek?
No. I'm talking about Dorian Gray, the villain in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Also dark-haired.
Oh, this list is just adaptations of the...
I know.
Of the novel, not of trash.
You called Alan Moore trash.
Sure did. I love how, like, TV, there's, like, Armchair Theater, Picture of Dorian Gray, 1961. And then it's, like, Get Smart, Age Before Duty, Season 5, Episode 11, like, of Get Smart. The 1973 TV one, which is the one I think is on Peacock Not Peacock, Pluto TV right now. Mm-hmm. Or it might be the 76. I don't actually know. Didn't fucking watch it. Man of the People, an episode of Star Trek TNG. Yeah, they keep fucking adapting this.
Okay.
There's even novels that are updates.
I got my who would play him.
Okay.
Chris Evans. On this, the 4th of July, America's ass.
Yes, but Chris Evans, like, in 2003 when he was doing Fantastic Four.
Yes, like fuckboy Chris Evans.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
With Mark Ruffalo at the same time as Basil.
I was about to say young Owen Wilson, but Owen Wilson has never been that kind of attractive.
Yeah. It has to be so, like, if you could blonde up Henry Cavill, he would be a good option too.
How about...
Oh my god, Orlando Bloom.
Oh, fuck yeah, there it is.
Lord of the Rings era
Legolas Orlando Bloom. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I want to think of, like, a modern one. Or a more modern one. Considering Lord of the Rings was 25 years ago.
Viggo Mortensen now is the same age that Ian McKellen was when they started filming those.
I don't like that.
I don't like
Don't
it
give
either.
me that knowledge. I do not care for that knowledge.
You know, it's fascinating that they haven't done a gender-swapped version of this.
Of Dorian Gray?
Yeah.
They sure have.
Have they?
Yeah.
You didn't mention that any of the ones were gender swapped.
It wasn't a film. It was a novel. Hold on.
Because...
Creatures of Will and Temper, 2017 by Molly Tanzer, is a gender swap spin on the story.
Okay.
So something for you to look up. I don't know her writing. Sci-fi writer, some awards. Vermilion, The Pleasure Merchant, Creatures of Charm and Hunger, bunch of short stories.
Because I was just thinking, like, Natalie Dormer would be
Ooh.
not as Dorian Gray, though, as Henry Wooten.
Okay, yeah.
Because she has that kind of, like, little spark of evil in her eyes.
Yeah. Freddie Highmore is Dorian Gray.
Ooh, interesting.
Just the true boyishness of that man.
Yeah.
There's the spice. That's what I was looking for. Well, we could do this all night, but we're not going to, because the bombs won't let us. So, before we call it quits on this nice short episode of the pod, would you recommend this novel?
At the risk of incurring the gay wrath of Oscar Wilde.
In this Gay Wrath Month.
I find it very difficult to get through. If you like this era of writing and you're willing to wade through 100,000 footnotes, be my guest. I find the writing pretentious and very difficult to get through, and the story's fine, I guess. It's an interesting idea, but resounding middle of the road. I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't read it. I wouldn't seek it out to read again.
I feel like the way that the story, like what's the word I'm looking for? The hook of the story has permeated pop culture. Like the idea of the portrait that ages instead of you. Like that's what you sink your teeth into when you're reading this in 1892, 1893. In 2024, like we were just talking about how many TV shows did episodes, how many times has this been made into a movie? It kind of loses some of that mystique, some of that, like, what makes it interesting. Because you kind of already know how it ends before you ever get into it. Like I was saying at the beginning, like, I don't know where I first heard of Picture of Dorian Gray. I just feel like I always knew it as, oh, it's the one with the painting where, you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of know what it is.
Yeah. I didn't remember before reading it that he totally could look at the picture and just, like, chose not to. He would, like, spend time away from it and then come back and look at it obsessively, because I mostly remembered it from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is, like, he cannot look at it or he will die.
Oh, is that what Alan Moore does to that shit?
I don't know if that's just in the movie or not, because I haven't read that far in the comics.
Fair. I'm gonna make you do it.
No.
Oh, no, then I'd have to watch the movie. Shit, never mind.
Wait, no, I changed my mind.
No!
Yes.
No!
But yeah, I feel like a lot of adaptations, the spell is broken when he looks at the portrait, whereas in the original book, it's...
Yeah, and, like, he looks at it in this film, too. It's not barred. He just doesn't want anyone else to see it, because then they'll figure out that, oh, he really is just evil, and there's his soul on oil and canvas.
The mortifying ordeal of being known for all of your various crimes.
Bingo. And I mean, I'm sure that's somebody's room 101. Is his schoolroom with your portrait in it, you know?
My room 101 is being forced to read this book again.
Oh, God.
And explain in detail what each chapter is about.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to put you through room 101 tonight.
No, I mean, like, reading it again now.
Oh, okay. The movie's fine. It's fine. The performances, specifically of George Sanders and Donna Reed, are great. I love seeing young Angela Lansbury as well, because, I mean, we grew up with Murder, She Wrote and Beauty and the Beast. So seeing her young and her singing voice is incredible. And that actually was her singing in this film, even though they used a voice double on her in other movies like around the same era. Like, she's got a great voice. She's a fucking talented woman, and she was at a young age, and it's a great like early Lansbury performance for her. It won the Oscar for Best Cinematography in Black and White, which I didn't even talk about that. First of all, warranted. Regardless of the thing I'm going to mention in a second, the camera moves are great. There's a lot of really good storytelling done with some slight pans and pivots, because in his main drawing room, there's big double doors that are usually in the back, and above the double doors is an open area, and occasionally the camera will pan and you'll see the door of his schoolroom appear in that window. And it's just like a nice little camera move to remind you what's, like, in a Telltale Heart kind of way, like, that is always there.
Oh, that's the joke I was gonna make. If you want to save some time, just read the Telltale Heart.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, actually, yeah.
If you want to save about 200 pages, just read the Telltale Heart. You get the same gist.
The thing I was going to mention that I forgot to mention, though, there are 4 shots in this movie that are done in Technicolor. There are 2 shots of the portrait towards the beginning, and there are 2 shots of the portrait around the end of Act 2 when it's near its worst. And you get full color panning shots of the artwork. And that's why I wanted to, like, on the pod, credit the artists behind it, because I don't recall seeing their names in the credits. I'm sure they were. I didn't pay attention.
I mean,
but, like,
you don't have to be that sure. It was the 40s.
Exactly. That's when credits were 2 pages and mostly actors. So, like, it's gorgeous artwork. It does the job for the film and holds up on its own. Well, maybe not the Hurd Hatfield portrait. It's kind of just a portrait of a guy. But the final portrait's such a fucking piece of art. It's such a cool piece, especially for 1945. Like, that's some modern ass art. So
it's very, like, almost Dali.
Yeah, it's real good shit. I again, go look up the picture of Dorian Gray.
Can you link it in the show
I can. If I remember, I'll put it in the show notes, or I'll put it on our Linktree, just so, like, y'all can see that shit, because it's a really cool piece of art. It's a really cool painting. If you're in Chicago, check it out at the Art Institute, because it's also, like, you know, a full 6 foot tall painting. It's a big piece of art. So, like, I imagine in person it's even more cool than just zooming in on your computer and looking at it there. So, but besides that, like, I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece of a film. It's, you know, a pretty bog standard Hays Code adaptation of a novel. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say.
Cool. Well, we came in nice and tight. After I edit all the fireworks and awkward silences out, we might be at around an hour on this one. Next week, though, we're going long. I could feel it. So this past Christmas, we got a gift from a lovely listener. Cody got a novel. I got a Blu-ray. And next week, we're finally covering To Kill a Mockingbird. Please, for the love of God, give me some hope in our legal system again.
I don't think To Kill a Mockingbird gives you much hope in the legal system. It just gives you hope in the people outside of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that was a good way to spend the 4th of July, talking about a British piece of art while not actually celebrating.
Yeah, that tracks.
That's about right for us.
We had grilled cheese hot dogs that didn't work.
We had warm hot dogs with cheese on them. That slaw ripped, though.
We had corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob, nice apple carrot slaw. It was barbecue food. It's just the hot dog experiment didn't work. That's fine. Still good hot dogs.